Jay-Z new video with Nas and DJ Khaled, it's a scene where it's checkerboards. These are all occult Satanism.
Yo, so it looks like Beyonce just shattered the internet with a silent bombshell, confirming the rumors the industry's been whispering about for years.
Y'all, we love y'all. We want y'all to get it right, at least get it close to right.
Okay, so now things just took a serious turn with this whole Jay-Z Secret Son situation. Fans are spiraling every which way, trying to connect the dots. Was Beyonce forced to go public after years of hype?
What happens when the most powerful couple in music faces a billion-dollar scandal that money can't erase? For decades, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have stood as the untouchable king and queen of the industry, the blueprint of wealth, power, and flawless image. But in a stunning twist, a courtroom bombshell has cracked that image wide open. A $1.6 billion judgment, not whispered behind closed doors, but stamped into legal record for the world to see. This isn't just a number, it's a financial wrecking ball that threatens to dismantle Roc Nation, unsettle corporate giants, and stain the legacy of hip-hop's most iconic mogul. And behind the scenes, Beyoncé, the woman whose name alone moves economies, is said to be pacing the marble floors of their empire in controlled chaos, laying down an ultimatum. Either Jay-Z settles this storm before it engulfs them both, or the foundation of their marriage itself begins to fracture. Rumors of hidden children, secret payouts, and explosive cover-ups swirl like smoke around the Carters, each headline darker than the last, each whisper more damning. This isn't just a scandal, it's the unraveling of an empire, and the cracks are spreading faster than anyone expected. The $1.6 billion court bombshell. It started with a judgment that no one in the music world thought possible. Ramir, the man who spent years in the shadows claiming Jay-Z was his father, walked out of court with a victory that shook the industry. Not a settlement, not a behind-closed-doors payoff. A public, courtroom-certified judgment. $1.6 billion. For Jay-Z, a billionaire many times over, you might think this is just another line item on a balance sheet. But insiders say otherwise. Even for someone of his status, a hit this size is devastating. We're talking about potential fire sales of assets, panicked investors, and Roc Nation itself suddenly vulnerable. His stake in streaming platforms, luxury beverages, even sports management contracts. All of it now sits under a storm cloud. And what makes this different from past whispers is simple. This one is real. It's not gossip. It's not a rumor. It's a legal ruling carved into public record. The kind of ruling that cuts through image, influence, and even money. For Jay-Z, the myth of being untouchable is over. The armor has cracked, and everyone can see it. Beyoncé's ultimatum. While Jay-Z's lawyers scramble in court, the real battle may be happening behind closed doors. Sources close to the Carters claim Beyoncé has already delivered an ultimatum. Fix this mess before it destroys everything or risk losing her. For Beyoncé, this isn't just about marriage. It's about empire. Her brand has been built on precision, perfection, and control. Every tour, every endorsement, every public appearance is carefully measured. But now, her spotless image is being dragged into a courtroom war tied to secret children, billion-dollar payouts, and headlines that refuse to fade. Insiders say the conversations at home aren't about music or business anymore. They're about survival. And here's the twist. Beyoncé isn't just a wife caught in the storm. She's a global trademark in her own right. Her tours generate economies. Her name alone sells fashion, fragrance, film. If this scandal continues to spin out of control, she risks bleeding brand value by association. And that's why whispers say her patience is running thin. If Jay-Z can't contain the fallout, Beyoncé may be preparing her own quiet exit strategy. New claimants emerging. As if $1 billion judgment weren't enough, Ramir's victory has cracked the door wide open for others who've been lingering in the shadows. The name surfacing now? Latham Sur, a Maryland woman who has long claimed to be Jay-Z's daughter. Her story has floated through whispers for years. A small-town girl raised with the belief that everyone around her already knew the truth. A mother struggling with illness, a childhood marked by secrecy, and the weight of being told that the most powerful man in hip-hop was her father, but never acknowledging her existence. For years, her claims were brushed off as noise. But suddenly, with Ramir proving the impossible in court, Layda's camp is reportedly surging with new confidence. And here's the nightmare scenario. 2 paternity battles happening at once. Imagine the headlines. Imagine the legal costs. Imagine the credibility collapse of a man who has spent decades dodging DNA tests while crafting an image of power and respect. If Layda steps forward now, Jay-Z won't just be fighting one lawsuit. he'll be fighting a chain reaction of claims that could stretch back decades. The empire wouldn't just be cracking, it would be splintering in real time. Beyoncé's reputation on the line for Beyoncé. The stakes are just as high, maybe higher. She isn't just a global superstar, she is a brand. Her name moves billions, tours that fuel local economies, endorsements that sell out in minutes, film and fashion ventures that set cultural trends. And now, all of that is tethered to a scandal she didn't create but can't escape. The danger for Beyoncé isn't whether she loves Jay-Z, it's whether staying aligned with him damages everything she's built. If she stands by him too long, she risks bleeding brand value by association, becoming a co-star in a scandal instead of the queen of flawless execution. But if she walks away too suddenly, she could be cast as abandoning him at his lowest point, a move that could spark its own wave of criticism. Behind the scenes, whispers suggest Beyoncé has already consulted high-profile divorce attorneys. Not formal filings, not yet, but exploratory conversations, the kind that signal preparation for every possible outcome. Insiders say her team is stretched thin, working overtime to insulate her image from Jay-Z's fallout. But no matter how polished the photo shoots, no matter how tightly controlled the press releases, the headlines keep circling back to one question: how long can Beyoncé afford to stand beside him? Industry silence and opportunists. In the cutthroat world of hip-hop and Hollywood, silence often speaks louder than words. Since Ramir's billion-dollar victory, some of Jay-Z's closest collaborators have gone quiet. Rihanna, one of Roc Nation's biggest success stories, hasn't so much as hinted at the scandal. Kanye, whose relationship with Jay has swung from brotherhood to rivalry, is keeping his distance. Even longtime industry allies are dodging the subject entirely. It's not loyalty, it's survival. Insiders say silence is the safest play in a scandal this radioactive. To stand beside Jay-Z now is to risk being pulled into the fallout. But to condemn him would mean severing ties with one of the most influential networks in entertainment. So, the industry waits, in calculated silence, watching to see if he can crawl out of the wreckage. And while some remain quiet, others are seizing the moment. 50 Cent, never one to miss an opportunity, has already turned Jay-Z's refusal to take a DNA test into a running joke. On social media, he's mocking the scandal, posting memes that paint Jay not as a legend, but as a man hiding from the truth. To Jay-Z's rivals, this isn't just entertainment, it's blood in the water. And every post, every jab, chips away at the aura of invincibility Jay spent decades building. This is the double edge of influence. The bigger you are, the harder the world celebrates when you fall. The bigger question: Ramir's billion-dollar win isn't just a legal judgment, it's a spark. And sparks have a way of igniting fires that can't be contained. If one secret child can bring Jay-Z's empire to its knees, how many others could be waiting in the shadows? Over the years, whispers have floated through tabloids and back channels. Names, stories, women who claim connections but were dismissed as noise. Those whispers don't sound so far-fetched anymore. Industry veterans are quietly asking the question no one wanted to before. If there are two, could there be more? And what happens if the lawsuits start piling up, one after another, until the myth of Jay-Z's untouchability collapses completely? The bigger danger isn't just financial, it's psychological. Jay-Z built his empire on control, controlling his image, his story, his narrative. But the refusal to take a DNA test now looks less like privacy and more like defiance. Every no comment adds fuel to speculation, and every rumor that once died in silence is now finding new life. If another claimant steps forward, if more evidence leaks, the empire could crumble not in one blow, but in a series of cuts too deep to heal. So here we are, at a crossroads that could reshape hip-hop's most iconic empire. On one side, Jay-Z fights to hold together a billion-dollar kingdom under siege by courtroom battles, secret children, and collapsing partnerships. On the other, Beyoncé, the queen of perfection, is said to be weighing whether her legacy is safer with him or without him. The $1.6 billion judgment is just the beginning. If more claimants step forward, if more evidence surfaces, this could spiral into one of the biggest implosions the industry has ever seen. And the question is no longer if cracks exist in Jay-Z's armor. It's how deep they run, and how many people are ready to tear it apart. Will this be the scandal that finally topples the Carters? Or will their empire bend but never break? Drop your thoughts below, because this story is far from over, and the next headline could change everything.